2026 Spring Edition. Let me hear it. Everybody out there, the crowd. Give it up, give it up, give it up. If you're on the periphery, yeah, we got the dogs barking. We got the. It's okay. Jasper approves. Hey, buddy. Margot's like, what? Anyway, guys, I'm so glad you're here. All of you out there watching, this is awesome. I wish you were here. You're going to have to make it to the fall festival if you're out there in YouTube land watching. But my name is Scott Armstrong. I do all kinds of fun stuff. I feel like I'm prepared for what's happening, but I'm at this festival to learn how to become more prepared. Okay, so I'm very grateful because we have the event founder, head guy right here with me, Mr. Patrick Henry. Everybody, Patrick, how you doing, buddy? Oh. Let's get that mic on.
Check. Okay, we're hot.
Good. Patrick, have a seat, man. Come
Right.
join me here. Come
Thank
pull
you,
up the
thank
table.
you, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So thanks for having me once again. What an accomplishment! Like just coming here and feeling the vibes. Like, I've kind of rolled in a little late. We got here a little late this morning, but maybe we weren't completely prepared. I'll tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
So we pulled up, and we're just kind of getting settled, getting in, and I couldn't find my pocket knife. Okay, and I'm like, I knew I packed my pocket knife somewhere, and I'm walking around, and I'm like, I can't go out there without my pocket knife, dude. They're gonna judge me, dude. I cannot
So
go out
hard.
without my pocket knife. So anyway, I see people in the crowd checking to make sure they have their pocket knives on them. Okay,
Where's mine?
it's like,
Okay.
oh gosh, yeah. So all you guys with your packs and everything, I'm like, I at least have to have my pocket knife, or
Yeah.
I am toast.
Yeah.
They're gonna tell me to go home, but anyway, I was prepared. I got it right here. So there we go. So anyway,
Very
so
good.
Patrick, tell us all the people watching, like on my channel and everything, where we're
Yeah.
at right now.
All right, so we are at Bloomington West Campgrounds in the lovely area of Clinton Lake, just outside of Lawrence, Kansas, about halfway between Topeka, Kansas, and Kansas City. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. We've got people here all the way from Italy. We've got people coming out here from Great Britain. One fellow drove all the way from San Bernardino, California, Texas, New England. Folks from all around the country are out here to hang out and help build the spirit of faith, family, and fellowship.
Awesome, man. Okay, so one of the things, so this is my second time here,
Yep.
and it looks like it seems to be growing and just getting better and better each time. How
Sure.
long have you guys been doing this for?
About 13 years. So we do 2 campouts a year, and obviously this is the 26th iteration of this, and we get a little bit better each time.
See, now I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know you guys have been doing that this long.
Yeah.
So we just had you. If you guys check out the show I help co-host and produce called Grand Theft World from last week, we had Patrick as a guest on,
Yeah.
and
Honor.
he crushed it. We got so much good feedback about that. First of all, but I was preparing for that show, and I was doing some research, and it said the 26th annual, and I'm like, that's not right. Come on, give me the right answer.
Right.
I think I was talking to Grok. I was like,
Yeah.
give me the right answer. And then I looked it up. Sure enough, it was the 26th annual, like biannual. I'm like, okay, so they have been doing it for that long. For some reason, I thought this was like within the last couple of years or since COVID type of thing. But you guys, I think that's so significant because a lot of people came to this world post-COVID, post-lockdown. So
You bet.
I don't even like to call it the COVID because, whatever. I call it the lockdown era, okay?
Yeah.
So as soon as the lockdowns came, that's when people started being like, oh, I might need to buy some extra beans and stuff like that.
And we started actively cultivating, a different spirit, different culture inside the Midwest Preparedness Project. Back then, this was called the Survivalist Boards Camp Out. And as this thing began to evolve, we realized real quickly that the moms, the children, the whole family needed to be included in this because at the end of the day, if it's just a bunch of guys sitting around a campfire talking about their cool Safe Queen gun, what's the point? I mean, we can do that at home while we're smoking cheap cigars. So as this thing, again, as it evolved, it kind of rolled into this giant, I don't know what you'd call this, festival, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Okay, yeah, and so again, you guys, if you're out there watching, I want to encourage you, Midwest Preparedness Project.com, and just learn more about it and try to work it into your schedule each year. It's something you have to experience. There's vendors, there's food trucks, and then the fellowship that happens like after dark and everything. And it's like I've made some incredible connections since I've been here. That I met other people that were local. So I'm from Nashville, as you know. Last time I came here, I met other people from Tennessee that I wasn't in contact with. Okay, and now they're like integral parts of my network out there. So it's
Right.
like you never know. So if you meet somebody here, that's one of the things I love about these types of festivals. It's like, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different ways that we arrived at this. We probably have different ways that we see the world. But at a place like this, we can all align on at least the fact that we have certain values that we can, it just kind of breaks down a lot of barriers. You can just automatically assume that, hey, we might be good friends. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
100%.
a really cool atmosphere. And so I just want to encourage all of you to at least check it out at least once. Okay. And then once you come, you're going to be hooked.
Very
so,
much.
So what's going on today? So this is the first day of the festival, like the official start today. I know you guys have been camping out,
Yep.
setting up, but what's going on today? What's some of the highlights of today?
So we've got a lot of really great stuff going on. This morning we did our opening ceremony at 10 a.m. After that, Janet, the Bohemian alchemist, prairie alchemist, gave a really nice talk on aromatherapy and some of the trappings of using the Glade air fresheners. Later on today, we have Greg Gay giving a dissertation on home solar power, how to measure those things, what you're looking for, what you need, kind of avoid some of the pitfalls of just buying random stuff and then having to sell it on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something. And then after that, let me see here. Let me pull out my handy dandy schedule. We will have Dayton from Ballistic Mischief, who's just over here, one of our really cool vendors. Dayton is a well put together young man. He's a trauma medical specialist, EMT, does all kinds of wild things. He's like in SEER training. The guy is just well put together. He's going to give us a class on basic field trauma, how to do more than just put a Band-Aid on a boo-boo. And then later on this evening at 6 p.m., we have the Grumpy Acre Farms. They're a local farm. They're doing all kinds of amazing things, but they've got like, I don't know, like $2,000 worth of seedlings and trees and stuff donated to the project. And we're going to have a Grumpy Acres Farm seed exchange where people are going to bring whatever they've got. I've got a box full of, I don't know, Jerusalem artichokes and stuff, but it's basically Barter Town, but for plants.
Oh, cool. Okay, perfect. There you go. So Bartertown is coming up. What is that, Saturday night?
Saturday.
Okay,
Bartertown Saturday.
Tell us about Bartertown and the significance of kind of decentralized, economies outside the system in general.
Yeah, in the world that we live in, with the fiat currency doing what it's doing, take a look around the world. I mean, obviously, with the rise of things like Bitcoin and alternative currency, gold backs, people are looking for traditional ways on how to communicate and exchange goods and services with one another. So we started implementing Bartertown several years back, and it's a cashless bartering system that really helps people hone their skills. Because a lot of people, you'll buy something, right? You'll buy some $200-300 widget, and to you that's worth $200 to $300, but to the person who has something on the table that you want, it might not be worth that to them, and vice versa. And so you got to learn how to haggle. And the most beautiful aspect of Bartertown for me is watching the kids. Like, the kids learning how to barter is so phenomenal. We've got like a traditional lemonade stand over here where some local homeschooling kids are learning the finer points of being able to be entrepreneurs. But later on at Bartertown, you're going to see these same kids bartering, what's that? Camp or day trip. Yes, thank you, Terry. You're going to see these kids over here bartering homemade cinnamon rolls and muffins for goldbacks. It's wild.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fascinating. So, as you know, I'm like big into entrepreneurship these days. We'll get into that in just a minute. But like, you're just like an expert on this stuff. Like, you've been in this world for a long time. Tell me a little bit about like what your view is in terms of like, solution for this failing economy, or so I think a lot of it has to do with bartering and finding these parallel economies and parallel communities that we can kind of grow out of the system from. But tell us like your philosophy and your view on that, about like the decentralized economies and just in general. Like just give us your thoughts and dissertation on that, and why you see it as a solution.
Thank you, Scott. That's a fantastic question. In the spirit of voluntarism and being autonomous, people have forgotten these skills. 120 years ago, 150 years ago, this was common sense. Grandma called it Tuesday. And so we've really been reconditioned to move into these 5-minute cities and these microclimates where everyone runs to the grocery store every time they need a roll of toilet paper during a pandemic. What we're trying to do is help people understand that getting back to a sense of self-sufficiency, being able to barter with your neighbor. We've got people out here who are bringing home, pork or beef products slaughtered, raised locally, and they're bartering it back and forth in the system. This again, alternate economy that we're creating right here in the middle of the United States. Just kind of taking some points from Joel Salatin, some of the other people we've had out there speaking before, and being able to teach people or reteach people how to reach across just outside of the fiat currency, outside of being able to say, well, I earn a living just so I can buy goods and services, but being able to actually barter your goods and services in exchange.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really, to me, it's like, I just don't, I see like we need to have something in place because, it's kind of funny. We've been talking about this economic collapse, there's going to be something for so long that but
Sure.
it just keeps right on not happening, right? As I like to say, but it's like, we need to have at least that mindset preparedness for in the eventuality that something like that does happen. It's like, so this is a good place to practice. And then also to build your network. Like I was telling my gal on the way up here, I'm like, okay, if things were to go sideways, all right, like these are the people that I would want to have in my network. And even though we're spread out throughout the country and throughout the world, really it's like, these are the people that I want to have a cultivated relationship with ahead of time. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like this is because regardless of what happens in the world, like these are the types of people that we need in our network. So
Very much. The people out here, Scott, like yourself, the other people that are watching at home, I know that you guys all have that same spirit. You have that same fire that burns within you. Again, like we talked about earlier this morning, many people here or many people watching at home, they have spent their lives feeling a calling to something greater, that there is something inside their soul that just commands them to know that they were meant for more than just existing. So being able to make these relationships now while times are easy, while times are peaceful, it's integral to your success and your survival down the road. Look at what's going on. You look at most of your major convenience stores, grocery stores, etc. They're all being transitioned over to what? A cashless society. They're all being transitioned over to condition people to swipe a card, and at some point in time, maybe it'll be a bracelet, maybe it'll be a chip in your forehead, maybe it'll be an Elon Musk brain implant, who knows what. But at that point, that's kind of the same thing that follows the golden rule, right? He who has the gold makes the rules. And so in that same model, if you really thought about that to its fruition or all the way to its end, people are going to have a very rude awakening, just like in the First and Second World Wars, when people were hoarding silver, they were hoarding food. What happened? The system turned against them. They really got conditioned to turn their neighbors in for hoarding gold, hoarding silver. So,
yeah, exactly.
It can happen.
Exactly. So the more that we do to prepare now, the better off we'll be with whatever happens. Or if nothing happens, that's great. We got a bunch of new friends and resources. So
heck yeah.
There you go. All right, Patrick. They're telling me I got to bring the next guest up. I know
My
you're
pleasure.
super busy.
Yes.
Go crush, man. Go handle
Thank
it.
you.
I'll catch
Thank
up
you.
with you later.
Scott, you're amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you,
you're the
brother.
man.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
man.
All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and leave it on. Janet, here we are. Why don't you do an introduction? Okay, why don't we do that? Come on over. All right, everybody, we got another guest here. So, all right. And this is cool for me as an interviewer because I'm going in fresh. And so I get to just genuinely ask questions. And hello, Janet.
Hi there.
My name's Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Very nice to meet you.
Same here.
Okay, so where are you from?
Originally,
Put the mic up to you.
originally,
Yeah.
I grew up in Northern Ohio.
Okay, cool. And where did you travel from to join us here today?
Just near Ottawa. We're on the other side of Ottawa, Franklin County,
Oh, Ottawa,
Kansas.
Kansas, not Ottawa, Canada. Okay. I'm like,
Well, I've been there,
okay.
but not today.
Okay, cool. Well, what brings you to Midwest Preparedness?
Well, I was a guest speaker this morning on aromatherapy. I'm an aromatherapist. I'm
Okay.
a retired social worker and a college professor. And due to so many allergies, I went into natural products and I became an aromatherapist.
Okay, so tell us about what sorts of ailments that people suffer from would they seek aromatherapy treatment? What type of clients or patients do you see most often?
It ranges to not wanting to, weight control, sinus, pain management, depression, skin ailments. So
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I'm very curious about alternative medicine.
Right.
It's almost like, you know, how they characterize alternative medicine as if like the Rockefeller based medicine is the standard and everything else, which has been, you know, around for
Petroleum.
thousands of years,
Yes.
is the alternative medicine, right?
Right.
Like, so it would probably shock you to realize how deep in that world I am. Like, I help run a dating app for people that didn't take the COVID shots, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm deep in that world. We have fought the establishment hard, like the medical establishment hard. That's been like that's kind of how I came up in this whole community, really.
Mhm.
So it's something I'm very, very passionate about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so learning about alternative treatments is something that I'm very passionate about as well. Like,
Right.
so, so what sorts of successes have you seen or heard from people? Like tell us more about it. I'm really interested in this because obviously I've heard of aromatherapy,
Right.
but I'm not really that educated on it. So
Well, aromatherapy is the science of smelling and essential oils that are derived from a plant, pure plant material, not fake. And it goes up into your olfactory, which is here, then triggers into the brain, to the limbic system, through the bloodstream, and then excretes through kidneys. So it's actually God's medicine, but it's topical or inhalation. And the essential oils have a lot of medicinal properties depending on which essential oil you're using because of the chemical constituents. And so my success story, a couple of really neat ones are, I had a lady come to me and said she had a specific skin disorder I never heard of. And I worked in the medical field all my life as a medical social worker. And so I kind of researched that a little bit. And she went to a dermatologist, and of course, they just give her a salve and come back in a month or 3 months. So I told her we're going to do a specific.
oh, testing. Oh no, we're good. Testing.
Hello. Okay, so she, what happened with her was I said, you're going to do a special regimen. You're going to use this soap, and we're going to apply this other specific salve I made specific to her because they come to me and they have to fill out like a 4-page health assessment. So I need to know their diagnosis, surgeries, medicines they're on, things like that for counterindications. And then I said, so we're going to do this. Hello, Tuesday, we're going to do this. And then we're going to do this on Wednesday, and I want to follow up in 7 days. So she said she saw an improvement. She sent me pictures, and within a month it was cleared up. Now she'd kind of have to continue that because it's hereditary. But she wasn't taking a pill. She wasn't using a pharmaceutical. And she eventually, it may have to look at soaps or things like that or for laundry, but in all, that was a really success story. I have a couple other ones that are really kind of fun. And, like sinus, a lot of, the Vicks inhalers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use Vicks, it's petroleum.
Yep.
But I make my own nasal inhalers for sinus, for colds, and I drink a lot of teas because I'm also an herbalist, but I'm not a certified herbalist, but I call myself a home herbalist because I,
Sure.
Have the property and I forage and I know what things are used for. So
That's amazing.
So anyhow, there's a lot of success stories. The other one I shared with people here is that a lot of people through COVID or flus or medicines lose their sense of smell. So you can get it back because it's retraining. You're retraining the olfactory. You're retraining your sense. So there is a possibility. And I did have a guy that it took a little while, but he followed the regimen and he got his sense of smell back.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, cool. So is this something that so do you have a clinic? Do you have
No, I have a website.
Website, okay.
Yeah.
And people can just order these and treat themselves at home then?
Not necessarily.
No, okay. Tell us about the process, protocol.
The protocol is that they would need to contact me, and then they have a 4-page assessment, health assessment they fill out. And then, and I'm not going to say I can help them. I'm going to read everything. I need to talk with them too, and then decide, can I help them? And if they're on a lot of medications and they're wanting to get off medications, I don't go there. That's not that's over my calling. And but I will sit and talk with them, and then we'll come up with a plan. They'll come to see me. I kind of try to formulate something before our first or second meeting, and then what we do is it's a process. You know, I'm going to make a blend. I'm going to decide, is it best for them to be topical or is it going to be inhalation? What is the best plan? And then we sit down and I have them smell the essential oils that I think is going to work best for them. And I formulate that, and then they get the recipe so that they don't have to keep coming back to me if that's going to work for them. So we sit down together, and then I tell them this is what I formulated. I do a patch test, meaning that before I add any essential oils, they're going to have a little test on their skin to make sure that they're not allergic to it. And then we do another one, because I usually do a 3 to 5 essential oil blend for them, and then formulate the remedy.
Okay, awesome. So where does this technology come from? Like, is this like essential oils have been around forever, right?
No.
No. Okay, tell us about it. Tell us. To me, I was picturing it was like one of these ancient Chinese medicines or something like that. But
essential oils have only been in the picture from about the late 1800s.
Oh, so still that's pretty significant.
What we've looked at biblical, and I teach a class on aromatic plants of the Bible, is that there are aromatic plants. So they took the aromatic plants, the wonderful smelling, aromatic plants and resins, and then infused them in biblical times in the oils, like olive oil, sweet almond, whatever was available to them. And that was where their aromatic oil came from. So essential oils have not been around, like I said, until the late 1800s or early 1800s. And it was a lot of perfumers, farmers that were growing in Europe for perfumers, and came across doing a distillation. So it's kind of like when you're distilling whiskey. It's a similar, but not quite. And you're distilling the plant material in a hot water. It's a still, and then it heats up, and then the plant material, the oils from the plant material separate and go into a little vat, and then the water goes into another pot, and that's how you have a hydrosol, which is floral waters. It's a little remnant of the essential oil. The essential oils, water and oil separate, and then you have your essential oils in it. And it takes thousands of pounds of, say, rose petals to make 1 pound of essential oil.
Wow. So
that's why that's expensive. With citrus, they are pressed. It's the skin. So any citrus, it's a cold press. And then plant material, like I said earlier at my little discussion, ginger is a root. You have pepper, which is a peppercorn. You have carrot seeds. You have lavender flowers. You have bark. Cinnamon is a bark. So you have resins that are distilled a little differently because they're, it's the resin off the tree that is hurt. That's why a resin happens. Resin is different from sap. Resin is the killing part for the tree. That's why you see a lot of trees that have resin on them, they don't die. And then that's dry distilled, and there's a lot of healing in a lot of resins.
That's fascinating. Fascinating. So yeah, really my point was to point out how this predates like Rockefeller medicine, which came out in like the late 1800s.
Oh yes.
And so again, it's just one of those modalities that was around, that was successful, and then with the advent of, are you familiar with the Flexner report?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, tell us about the Flexner report for people at home that may not be interested or may not be aware.
I think you better tell them about, but I'm not real happy with it. But
okay, yeah. So I could use a brush up on it, but essentially the idea being that we have aromatherapy, frequency medicine, which I know is also making a big resurgence nowadays.
Yes.
All of these things that existed that were diagnostic tools and healing tools.
Tesla,
yeah, all the Tesla tech, all of this became outlawed with this Rockefeller-funded Flexner report, which basically made it so that colleges and universities were not allowed to teach anything except like what we now call Western medicine, which was like surgeries and pills. That's it. And it was symptom management, not like getting to the root cause. It's like, okay, so you have these symptoms, we're going to smash down these symptoms, and we don't really care what the root cause is. So essentially, a like broad generalization, but it made it illegal for colleges to teach like ancient Chinese medicine, frequency medicine, aromatherapy, homeopathy.
In the United States.
Naturopathy, in the United States. And so you could not go and become a doctor in any of those fields. And so therefore it created this whole culture now of the only doctors that are considered the real doctors are the ones that are, in that whole coterie, and not in the, like, if so basically it created like this whole separate category of alternative medicine, which prior to that was medicine. You know what I'm saying? So
Herbal,
anyway,
herbal,
yeah, herbal
herbal
medicine.
Yeah,
Herbal
definitely.
medicine. And the irony is that these pharmaceutical companies spend so much of their time out in the rainforests and the jungles finding plants to synthesize to make their medicine. So all their medicine is based on God's medicine,
Right.
and so
Right.
it's like, it's just awful. So anyway,
Well, the whole key to that is, like you said, that was the only medicine that was used, was herbal medicine.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we went that way. Now, my grandparents are all from Czech and Poland, and so I had a lot of influence with Slavic medicine, Slavic healing. My grandmother, they went to doctors, but you didn't see it as rampant like you do now. And just because you had a problem, you took care of it at home. Because you had, that's what, with my kids when they were little, I practiced a lot of this at home, and they would say, "Oh my gosh, I've got a cold." I said, "Oh, let's get in the bathroom, let's do the steam." And they go, "Oh no, not the steam treatment," or things like that. So yes, I've always kind of practiced it. The one thing that I do want to say is that essential oils, there is a lot of scientific evidence how it helps. PubMD, there's a lot of researchers that are going into documenting how essential oils have helped and worked, and it's a really wonderful place to be.
Awesome. Okay, well, tell the people one more time. Tell them your name and where they can find you, your website, and how they can learn more.
Okay, my name is Janet Gutierrez, and I'm the Bohemian Prairie Alchemist. And my website is bohemianprairiealchemist.com. I am in Rantoul, Kansas. I do have business cards. I also have a Rumble channel.
Okay, cool.
So it's free. It's aromatherapy and natural health. And I dissect a lot of essential oils. I also go into fake fragrant oils. I talk about food additives. I have all those allergies. So I'm very adamant about that. And again, we do a lot of different things on that channel. So I've interviewed a friend of mine that's in Russia, that's an herbalist, and a friend of mine in Poland. They both speak English, so you can. But it's a fun channel, and there's a lot of education on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Everybody, give a round of applause. Round of applause. All right, we're just keeping this gravy train rolling here. We have another Midwest Preparedness speaker coming up to the stage. All right, you guys having fun? Yeah, woo! These guys are super excited back here. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Yeah. What's up? Greg, very nice to meet you. I'm Scott. Come on, have a seat here. All right, so we have our next guest. Tell us Greg, what's your full name, man?
Greg, hang on.
Okay, yep, we're getting situated.
Greg Gay.
Greg Gay, okay, so what brings you to Midwest Preparedness?
Just wisdom.
Wisdom, okay. Are you one of the speakers, one of the presenters here?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so what's the topic of your expertise?
Just being prepared. I live in the country, and I had no idea when I moved into the country what it was going to take to actually be prepared. And so we had a really big outage this winter.
Yeah.
It got really cold. Our power went down for 10 hours.
Okay.
At zero.
Wow.
And all I can say is just because I was prepared with batteries and an electronic option as opposed to going out and starting a frozen generator, which I also have. No, I was prepared enough to do a 10-hour battery support and not have to start up any of the generators.
Okay, and where are you located at?
Rantoul, Kansas.
Okay, so you're here in Kansas. So was this back in January during the whole winter storm that hit?
We locally, a crimp let loose, and the wire came down off of 10 poles.
Wow.
So we had to wait 10 hours to get our power back.
Dang. You know, it's crazy. It hit us pretty. I'm in Nashville. I'm actually, in the city in Nashville, and we got hit pretty hard too. And like there was power lines down all over the city, and it was intense.
Yeah, when you're running your heaters maximum and it's 0 degrees, it really pulls on the system.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
I really didn't realize that when you connect wires together, they're crimping it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a crimp let loose. It
Wow.
got hot and let loose.
Oops. Yeah, for me it was like the number one thing was what was your number one priority? What was your number one priority? For me it was my dog. I got my dog over there. I was just trying to keep her warm. What was your number one priority the whole time?
Truthfully, just to get lights on. It was in the middle of the night, if you get a light on, it's all better.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your solar lights, but it's nice to get backup lights on. Get a light on, get TV on, plug in your refrigerator so you can open your refrigerator door.
Yep.
Because you're always, even though it's going to be cold in your house,
Yeah.
you got to maintain the freezer and the refrigerator.
Okay, so you live out in the country. Are you doing like a homestead operation, or what? Tell us more about your setup.
I do not want to be a solar manufacturing plant supervisor.
Okay.
So I'm doing things differently, and it's kind of a low-cost way of supporting the electronics in your house.
Okay.
It's a little bit elementary, but when the power goes down, I plug in a strip and I start getting the extension cords out and start covering what you need to.
Yeah. So priority. We live in a world much. Take the fact that you flick a switch and the lights come on, or you have a refrigerator and food's going to stay cold. But we don't always have that luxury. I mean, I think a lot of the people around here that may have been affected by the storm in January were really put to the test, right? To see whether their systems were what they thought they were. And I think that's one of the cool things about just being preparedness minded in general is that, we have all these hypotheses about what will happen in a situation like that. And then and sometimes we get put to the test, right? And I was out. We were without power for 10 days. And actually, maybe what was it? No, it was 8 days. 8 days. 8 days without power. About halfway through, I did cave and get a hotel room for a couple days because I had so much work I had to get caught up on. Right? I needed power to get caught up on work. But for the most part, I was like, no, I'm going to ride it out, man. I'm going to ride this out. I'm going to see what we can do. And we made it. Like I said, I was just keeping her warm was the number one priority. But we had food. I had battery backup. Like everything was fine for the most part, and it was cold. But for me, I just looked at it as like a little vacation. So there you go.
Yeah, it absolutely does depend on the time of the year.
Yep. And I don't know. I think it was getting down to around. I don't think it quite got down to 0 for us. I think it was more like 10, 12 degrees. So it was like still pretty brutal. But
the generators would have been going. In another hour.
Yeah.
And then it's all about having enough gas. I mean, and if it's a power company problem, your power will be back on within 24 hours or so.
Well, see, that's the thing is you can't see. This is why. Okay, and I know everybody around here knows this, but you cannot rely on the government or the power company because that's what the situation was. It's like, okay, you walk around my neighborhood. There was literally the power lines were on the ground because a tree had fallen across it. Like those weren't coming anytime soon. And in fact, the power substation next to my house apparently had a tree fall on it or something. And that's what was causing the outage for such a prolonged period. But we were lucky because I think there was some neighborhoods in our town in Nashville, the capital of Tennessee, was out of power for up to 2 weeks in some neighborhoods.
Wow.
And so, it was a pretty crazy situation that the whole town was kind of enduring together. But it just shows you that, the government's not coming to save you. And even in those situations, they weren't providing relief. And it was crazy too because there were so many people getting mad at the power companies, And it's like, I know how this works. I mean, these linemen, they're working their asses off 24 hours a day trying to do it. But even then, they don't have the resources. They have enough resources to send billions of dollars to go murder people all over the world, but they don't have enough resources to help in situations like that. I can go off on that forever, but it's like, it's like the way I say it, it's like, okay, if we have to have a government, okay, fine, listen, I'll hear you out. If we have to have a government, can you at least be really good at disaster relief? Like this sort of stuff. Like this is your one job. This is the only thing that you're in charge of right here. And so if you're really good at that, then maybe I'll consider validating you as whatever. But it's like, okay, but they can't. In fact, it's almost like that's part of their demoralization efforts, is that in the event of a disaster or something like that, they're just like, and just to further demoralize us. Like that's just a part of their whole protocol. So anyway, so we can't rely on the government. So what were some of the lessons you learned? What changed in your approach going forward, and what are you going to do differently going forward after having gone through that yourself?
It's just really important to have all your bases covered. That particular case, there's a heater on the floor right there that does great in a house. You got to be careful when you're putting extra heaters in your house, but just be prepared with, everything that could happen. If it's in the winter, you're going to need heat. You better have a fireplace. You better have, wood. I mean, half of my property is wood, so there's a lot of down trees. I don't have a problem with fuel from the woods, but I don't know. I feel like I was prepared for this one. I had 3 or 4 gallons of gas. If I had to do, I've got a 9K gas generator, a 4K gas generator, and 3 or 4 solar generators. So I thought about it before, and I was just happy that I could do the 8 or 10 hours without having to really get out in the freezing cold and figure out how to get the generator going, and that's always a problem.
There you go chop some wood.
It is.
Heats
but
you up real quick,
what you're saying. The people in North Carolina, can you imagine being out of power for 3 months, 4 months?
That's what I'm saying.
And some of them are still living in trailers and tents, and the government did not come in and help them.
No, and you hear about stories like that Selco guy, right? That old preparedness story. What was that at? Was that like Serbia or something? Bosnia, that's right.
Right.
So you have like a civil war situation where you have like a urban environment where there's no power, no water, no anything for a whole year. Like that could happen here in a day. And so then it's like, okay, then you're really being put to the test. Like it's like, okay, so what? Like we have all these theories, and it's interesting studying that situation where he's like, okay, these are the things that really are important. And I think one of the things that stood out to me that he said was like the most important thing to have is like antibiotics, right? Do you guys have like tons of antibiotics? Like I don't, you know what I mean? It's like I probably should, but then it's things like alcohol, having like tons of like liquor on hand for like treating wounds for one, but also like bartering. Okay, cigarettes, lighters, like these things are like, all the vice items are like a really important thing to stock up on in a situation like that. Apparently, it's like, I don't want to keep a bunch of liquor in my house, so I might just end up dying in that situation apparently. But that's okay. But anyway, so we can't. A situation like North Carolina, and that affected parts of East Tennessee.
That's what worries
as well.
me the most is that, and this actually. That's a disaster, and how that weather pattern happened and how that all happened, absolutely questionable.
Oh, 100%.
That was not natural.
Yeah, and if anybody thinks that that's a conspiracy, that the government or whatever, these entities don't have the ability to manipulate the weather or change the courses of hurricanes, like they've been researching this stuff since the 20s. Like some of this weather manipulation stuff goes back to the 20s. Like, and this is like military grade technology that they've been doing. They've perfected a long time ago. It's like not only do they have it, but it's been perfected, and they perfected it a long time ago.
And don't let anybody ever tell you that HARP in Alaska is non-destructive.
Yep. Okay, well, do you have a place that people can go to learn more about what you're doing? Is it a website or anything?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
I if you want to send me an email, jeepgreg@proton.me.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Greg. Appreciate it, man. Awesome. Yeah, nice to meet you. Let's give it up for Greg. Doggy, doggy. The doggies are loving it. All right, we're going to keep it going, folks. We got some more presenters coming up to the stage. Oh, Greg, here's your drink. There you go, bud. Yep, thank you. Dayton from, all right. Dayton. What's up, man? I'm Scott. Nice to meet you. We have Dayton from Ballistic Mischief. So this is, I was telling them, like, this is putting my podcasting skills to the test where it's like, just coming in fresh, not knowing anything about the people coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the mic, and so the people at home can hear and everything. So
Testing.
yeah, we're good. So tell us, and these are the cameras right there. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to Midwest Preparedness.
So, like you know, my name is Dayton Bornick with Ballistic Mischief. I'm a survival and tacticals instructor. I travel across the country and teach at different events and gatherings and conferences. I do a lot of survival, like primitive survival stuff. I also do lock picking and restraint breaching and escape, and some more of the SEER tactical stuff.
Okay, now we're talking. All right, so lock picking. Tell us why lock picking is important.
It was just always something that interests me, like seeing MacGyver going through with paper clips and busting open locks. It was just something I thought was cool, and I started out with lockpicking kits and then started getting kits and just kind of going through, and it was just like a puzzle. I never could do Rubik's Cubes, but it was kind of my outlet to try that.
Okay, so this is something that I've always been in the back of my mind. It's on my to-do list someday, but tell us, like, is there any lock you can't pick, or tell us more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got buddies that are locksmiths and stuff, and there's a point where you want to pick locks because it's a non-destructive entry technique, so you're not breaking anything. No one knows you're in and out. There's lots of advantages, but at some point, breaking it is the only option, or bypassing it. There's so many different locks that are just, people put hundreds and hundreds of dollars into it. And it's like you either would have to have $20,000 of equipment to get into it, or you just would have to go figure something else out. So there's definitely locks you can't pick, but the majority of locks that you'd run into in like a practical situation, or padlock that you've got on your shed, or a car or a house or something like that, those all typically you can get through.
Yeah, and it's like, I picture like that movie The Road, right? Where you're just like, it's a post-apocalyptic situation. You're traveling around and you come across some door with a lock on it, and you're like, okay, we need to get in there because there's obviously something we need, some resource we need in there. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was picturing. So, okay, when we first started, you listed a bunch of stuff. There was something I wanted to ask you about, but can you list again all of your?
Yeah, I do a lot of survival stuff. So like fire making, some of the primitive like survival
survival skills. Yeah. That's what it was. Okay, so tell us more about that.
I don't teach as much of the primitive stuff because I'm still learning. I'm learning flint napping. I'm going more like advanced primitive fire making techniques, a lot of friction fire stuff. But I do a lot of the more modern of those primitive survival techniques and all of that. So I enjoy teaching fire making on different levels. But yeah, a lot of the stuff I'm doing right now is like bow drill fires, hand drill fires, different ways to do that pump drill. Some of those just simple mechanics of friction fire methods, and flint and steel is another one I really enjoy. And yeah, just kind of learning those different skills.
Okay, cool. So how long have you been doing this?
I have been an instructor since I was 14, and I've just been interested in all this stuff. I'm 18 now.
Okay, so tell us. So that's awesome. So you see this as a career path. Like, this is what you're going all in on this. Okay, this is awesome, dude. I love this. Okay, so all right, do you have a social media?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Ballistic Mischief, Instagram, Ballistic Mischief, and then on Facebook, it's Dayton Bornick. So any of those places.
Well, make sure you guys follow them. Okay, so this is great. Okay, so all right, so what was your inspiration for having interest in it and gaining these skills, and then deciding, oh, I'm gonna actually make a career out of this, and then launching your own endeavor?
Yeah, so I was homeschooled. I've been my whole life, and I'm about to graduate here in a couple weeks. But so I've always been into that kind of stuff. My parents, we would always go kayaking. We'd always be outside, camping, fishing, hunting, all that stuff. And I'd read books, I'd see movies, I'd watch videos, and I would just go out and try to replicate it and teach myself those skills the best I could. So I mean, when I would see MacGyver do something, I'd go practice, try to do that. Whenever I would go see Dave Canterbury and Cody Lundeen run around with each other on dual survival, I would go out and try to do some of that stuff. And at some point, my dad gave me a backpack that had like a tarp, some paracord, matches, and a knife in it, and I went out and I would just go make shelters. We we were more in the city, but we had an acre of land with some woods and a creek going through it, and I would just go crazy on that and utilize that as much as possible. So through that, just my interests have led me into different things, and I've just kind of kept going with it. Anything I find interesting. I try to be good enough at it that at some point I can start teaching it on a basic level, because teaching is the best way to learn for me.
Yep.
So once I try to go down that rabbit hole, get as good as I can, and then I just start teaching basic levels of it, and that just reaffirms and sends me farther down other rabbit holes of it. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where are you based out of?
I'm about 45 minutes to an hour north of Indianapolis, so little ways away.
Okay, cool, awesome. And so where have your travels taken you around the country?
A lot of northern United States, so like Michigan, Wisconsin, also gone Midwest areas, so like Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee. We've gone down south a little bit, Alabama. We've done some North Carolina. So this is far out west that I've ever been, and then not crazy far out east. So a lot of just that kind of midsection of the U.S.
Okay, well, I've got a lot of resources I can get you plugged into.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
lots of places that would be very interested in what you're doing. This is really, really, really cool. So what's been some of the challenges you ran into running this, I guess you could say, a business? Like, yeah.
I'm not, as far as challenges, it's just been, I don't know, the balance of having a life outside of this, and kind of balancing both staying up with the social media posts and staying up with the business aspect of it and constant marketing and having to do all that while also trying to go through high school, go through other interests outside of this realm, balance both of those dynamics. But yeah, I mean, there's not been anything that's crazy. I'm an EMT student right now, so I'm about to graduate EMT school as well. So
you're so far ahead of the game. Dude, that's unbelievable.
It.
Like, I wasn't doing anything this cool when I was in high school, dude. That is for damn sure.
It.
Okay, so do you have any like online courses or anything like that? Is that something that you're
potentially in the future? That's something that I might be working on.
Definitely recommend it. Yeah, that's going to be the move.
I've been involved with some similar things like that before, but in the future there definitely could be some online courses coming.
Okay, cool. I mean, you're doing it all right. I mean, building the online, the social media stuff. Like, unfortunately, even though your offering is boots on the ground, you're helping people in real life. Like, in just this day and age, like, it's all social media, it's all online, right? So
absolutely,
you're aware of that and just building that. That's way cool. So, what's your favorite thing to teach?
My favorite thing, I personally enjoy fire making. That's probably one of my favorite things. I really enjoy it. But when you go to events where there's bushcrafters and all this stuff, there's always There's always so many people doing fire making. There's a lot of people that are way better than me too.
Sure.
So I kind of get my foot in the door with restraint breaching and escape. That's one of my favorites, because it's how to get out of handcuffs, how to get out of zip ties, duct tape, all that kind of stuff.
We need to do it. Are you doing a presentation here?
I'm not doing a presentation as far as that. I'm doing a basic trauma care presentation a little bit later.
Later today?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Okay, so give us some tips on how to escape zip ties. That's fascinating.
So how I teach is, there's a couple different ways people do it. How I teach is a friction saw technique.
Okay.
So I take, and whatever, if you have zip tie handcuffs, you have regular zip ties, whatever you've got as a restraint, you go through and you get on the ground, you're sitting, you untie both your shoes or your boots or whatever it is. You want to feed one of your laces either through the zip tie or over the zip tie. You can tie a knot, and then you lean back on your back, and just like you're... Hello? Testing?
There we go.
All right. But you lean back on your back, and just like you're riding a bike, you push your legs back and forward. The friction from those two laces over that zip tie, that plastic, within 5 to 10 seconds is going to melt through that, and it'll snap it. So whatever you've got on you will work. I mean, I've seen people, Nikes, Adidas. The only thing is Crocs, unfortunately, it doesn't work with. But.
No Crocs, folks. That's another reason not to wear Crocs. Always wear your shoe. Any type of laces specifically work really well for that.
I mean, if you have Kevlar laces work great.
Kevlar laces, folks.
That all works good. But I mean, even if you've got felt laces that are Nike laces, those will work too.
Dude, Kevlar laces, add them to the list. Okay, there we go. Dude, that's awesome. Okay, handcuff slipping. I've been in handcuffs before. How could I have escaped?
So there's a couple different ways. You can either use a shimming technique or a picking technique. If you've got some like small wiry piece of metal, a paper clip works well. You can go in through the keyhole, and there's a certain spot that you can tap and hit the latch that will release your. Let's see.
Mics keep going.
Testing.
We got it.
All right. So you can either go through that where you can hit that certain latch in the keyhole that'll open it up. That's just manipulating the lock itself, or you can shim it, which is just bypassing the technique. You can take like a bobby pin or a hairpin. You put it in between where the teeth, because you've got upward teeth and you've got downward teeth. So if you put it in and then you push in on the downward teeth, then you can just slide it right out.
Really? So you see that in movies with the bobby pin. I just thought that was like some Hollywood stuff.
No,
like,
it
even
works.
like police handcuff, like actual police handcuffs,
100%.
just a bobby pin?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude. Dang. Okay.
It's some fun stuff.
Dude, that is fascinating. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to leave us with here?
No, yeah. Make sure to follow me on social media. Check out. I post after every event, and I'm always keeping everybody up to date with the shenanigans that I'm up to. So
cool, man. Well,
yeah.
I'll make sure to give you a follow, and I was gonna point to some stuff. Let's talk after.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, thanks. Oh, one more time. Hey, one more time. Where can they follow you? Give us the social media one more time.
You can find me Ballistic Mischief on YouTube, Ballistic Mischief on Instagram, and then Dayton Bornique on Facebook.
There you go. Thank you. Awesome. All right, Spags coming up. All right, Mr. Spags, come on up,
Then
buddy.
we can let you get some lunch.
Yeah, okay, there you go. All right, guys, this is the event MC, Bobby Spags. What's up?
What's going on,
Not
brother?
much.
Good
You
to
want to have a
have you.
seat?
Yeah, we can go for a few minutes.
Yeah, go for a few minutes here. So tell us, what's been your favorite part of today so far?
The number of people that came out and pitched tents in the rain.
Okay.
The level of dedication that this crowd has grown to have. They will come out here on a Tuesday, 2 days before any speakers show up, get their asses wet and not care. And by the end of the day, we're smoking a cigar and having a good time around a campfire, which is everything you could possibly want.
Exactly, dude. Okay, so what's your favorite part of Midwest Preparedness? Because how long have you been involved with it?
Oh, 4 years now, I
4
think.
years? Okay. So, okay, cool. So what's your favorite part of it each time? Whoops, bump it. He's got to bump it. I don't know what it is.
It's a bump stock.
Yep.
No, my favorite part of it is meeting new people. I like the networking. I like I get to meet you, and then I get to meet the guys from Top's Bunker Podcast, and I get to introduce you guys to each other. For me, it's the human connection. It's the interaction. It's the, hey, you would do well with this guy. You would do well with this gal. Go create something awesome together outside of even here.
Okay, cool. What do we got on the agenda today? Give us a rundown.
All right, well, after this, Greg is coming back up to give his presentation. You can see all of his equipment over here, all of his different things to power things, and he's going to talk for about an hour. Then we're going to take a quick break, and then Dayton will come back up and give his trauma first aid class.
Okay, cool. Sounds good, man. All right. Well, anything else people need to know?
Go see the ladies at the front. Please buy some opportunity tickets, buy some patches, buy some stickers. That is the only way we keep this thing
tell us
free.
about that. I was going to get into it with Patrick, but I didn't get a chance. Tell the people how the opportunity tickets work and how that funds the event.
All right, so there's two different levels of opportunity giveaways that we have. We have the basic giveaway, which is a $5 ticket or 5 for $20, and those go in the general hopper, and I get up here at the end of every day, and we hawk the stuff and give it away to people. They draw out their tickets, and we hopefully draw their winning ticket. Then we have the two grand prize drawings, one on Friday and one on Saturday, and those are limited to only 300 total tickets at $20 a piece, limit of 10 tickets per person. That way no one can actually game that giveaway to get the high dollar items. Everyone has a very high chance of winning. We get these items given to us by mostly our vendors, and most of these vendors are our sponsors, and then we get a bunch of national sponsors from different places on different, like Nicole. You know Nicole Sauce.
Of course, yeah.
Nicole's one of our sponsors.
Is she going to be here?
She will be here potentially in the fall. Potentially, if it works with her schedule, but I don't think she'll be here this time. But we have her coffee going, Hollow Roast.
Cool, okay, cool.
So they give us the stuff. We combine it into these cool bundles. We sell you tickets to potentially win them, and that's how we make money to buy everything you see here.
Cool.
It's how we keep things free.
Awesome. Well, you guys, if you're anywhere near Lawrence campus, come out and hang out with us. We'll be here all weekend, and come enter a chance to win some of these awesome prizes. Actually, tell us the two grand prizes.
Grand prize for Friday is a John Willis full SOE battle rig. It's a micro M4 AK, and it's fully loaded. It's got a full IFAC, 4 40-round magazines, an admin pouch, a bladder, all the things. And it's the last one he'll ever make in ATAX foliage green, so it's kind of a collectible at this point.
Okay. And then what's the other big item?
Awesome bullpup magazine-fed 12-gauge shotgun.
Okay, so you guys, we got AKs, 12 gauges. Get out to Lawrence, Kansas. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Scott.
Peace. Thank you.